But we live in Florida, and for quite a number of years we had a motorhome, and every summer, because it was so hot in Florida, we just travel around. And over the years we found that we knew that one of these days we'd be settling down and moving on into a house and out of the motorhome. And we just fell in love with Traverse City. I mean, it had everything we really wanted. It was gorgeous, the water, the medical, the people, what we call the infrastructure, basically, the arts, the entertainment, the restaurants. We were foodies. And so we decided to sell the motorhome and build a summer home up here and keep the winter home in Florida because it's just too hot to be down there in the summer months. So we found the lot, bought the lot, and then started searching for builders and architects. I guess from a number of different sources, we developed a long list of possible builders. And then just went through the list to decide how we're going to shortlist them. We called every builder just to see if they're interested in the project, how long it would take.
I think Mike spent the most time on the phone with you. He answered a lot of questions, and Fred's an engineer, and we built he contracted our last house, so I think he kind of recognized that Mike knew what he was talking about, and you know, a lot of the problems that we might have, especially building remotely, that Mike could handle. And I think you got a lot in that first conversation because a lot of the other builders really didn't spend that much time on the phone with him. You know, it's kind of like, just send me your plans and I'll give you a price. So
Mike seemed to specialize in building remotely, and a number of people had done it, and we talked to all of his the people he had built for previously. They all were very satisfied with him, and the ones that were doing it remotely also were satisfied. And Mike did answer a lot of questions without having to prompt him on the phone and spend a lot of time, just how he works, how it would work in the construction, what happens if there's a problem, how we're going to resolve it. And he did a good job answering the questions. I felt comfortable at the end of the day with Mike. It's number one, obviously, it's a huge investment, and I'm not going to be up here overseeing it. So I needed to feel comfortable with somebody that they were going to take the money and do a really good job. I think the second was attention to detail, the fact that, again, we're not going to be here to say this might be right or this isn't wrong or this doesn't. So I wanted somebody who not only was good engineering-wise, but Mike seemed to have a really good grasp on design. If there was a problem, there didn't seem to be a problem. If there was an issue that needed to be redesigned, Mike always had great ideas with it. So it was that I was looking for, somebody that had those kind of ideas. And then somebody who just seemed to really care about what he was doing. It's funny, but you know, you have a set of architectural plans, but a lot of the details in this house aren't on the plans. That's what's the difference between a good builder.
Oh yeah, this ceiling was
I mean, none of this was on the plans. I mean, it just showed a ceiling, and we said we needed a house at the end of the day that was really warm, it was comfortable, it was inviting, it was open for parties, for entertaining. That's what we're looking for, and certainly to take advantage of the view of the lake. I mean, those were the big criteria. And we went through an architectural process, and we did that, but at the end of the day, that only gives you what it looks like on 2 dimension. And Mike was what really brought it to 3 dimension. And he did all the extra design work, all the extra details in the molding, all the extra bookcases, and he had really good craftsmen.
Yeah, good ideas too.
We don't get this level of workmanship where we live. Mike was great about that. I mean, it was every single week I would get an entire series of pictures via email of stuff that happened that week. So once a week he would take whatever happened, and then we'd go through the pictures and we'd ask questions about a specific area or how this was going to work, or could this change, or you know, what's going on here. And he'd immediately answer and say, well, this is where we are with this is what we can do. And that was in the normal process of construction. When we started running into some things that didn't work exactly right or weren't fitting exactly right, then he'd send more pictures specifically in those areas. And it was real easy to say, well, let's move this here, or let's change this, or let's make this smaller.
Or he'd give you an option. You can have it this way, or you could have it, you know, he'd show you maybe drawings, or he'd hold up wood and show you maybe how a corner could come together. You know, you could have it this way, or you could have it this way.
I mean, they say there's 10,000 decisions you have to make in building a house, and I believe that. But what's nice is like when we came to things that needed to be stained to match, Mike had samples shipped to us to say, which ones of these do you like? Or paint samples that we got, or wood samples, or design. The paver, anything that we needed, he'd have somebody make up a sample set and deliver it. And then we can make a decision from that. So it made it a lot easier. There's probably 1,000 pictures of stuff that through the course of construction. But then you can really see it. Instead of just trying to talk through it on the phone that we've got a problem here and we need to do this. Here it is. I mean, this is what's happening. This is what it looks like. It was an attention to detail. Everything was above board. All the books were open for anything that we wanted to see what something cost. On time to the day with getting the job done. And a level of quality that exceeded what we originally had expected or had anticipated with any builder, not necessarily Mike. You know, he far exceeded that.
Well, and I think all of his subs were really, I mean, he and all of his people were charming and easy to talk to. You know, they got back to you right away. Nothing was a problem. You know, everybody that he had working under him was...
Yeah. That's what I said. We came up 3 times during the entire process. That was it. There are some critical points you've got to come up, and we came up before the sheetrock went in to make sure everything was right, the lights are in the right place, that kind of stuff. And everybody worked with us. I mean, we were only up here for a couple of days. They moved this if we needed that or changed this. And then we left. We came back after the sheetrock was done just to make sure everything kind of gelled, things didn't get moved or they forgot something. And then once during the finishing process, when we brought up a lot of the furniture.
You came up, I didn't come up.
We had a truck that came up with a lot of the stuff that we're going to be using in the house. And it was gorgeous. I mean, the workplace was clean. His subs were really easy to work with, like you said. It was an effortless process, which was nice. I think the worst parts were making the decisions, but those are our issues, not Mike's.
Decorating from
he did everything he said he was going to do.
1,000 miles away.
Yeah. I think the wow factor when you walked in is seeing it all put together, because all you had is pieces and done. And the other thing, and I know this sounds strange, and anybody hearing this is probably going to say, oh, he's probably been paid. There's been no problems with the house.
It's true. There's nothing.
Mike has.
This is our
This is our third summer in here.
We haven't had any problems.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I know Mike stands ready to fix it, but there wasn't anything to fix, which is very unusual on something like this.
Well, and also, you know, we're very picky. So, you know, as you go through the house, you would see things in a normal house that you'd say, oh, gee. But there really wasn't anything. So.
But the design features, especially making the fireplace work with the TV, making the bookcases all fit in there, doing the Coford ceiling here, and then having it flow all into the kitchen. I think the kitchen design was excellent. That turned out really good. It's a nice family.
Usable kitchen. It's fun to entertain because everybody, you know how everybody hangs out in the kitchen. So there's a lot of room to hang out over there. It just seems like the minute you walk in the door, you're on vacation. And I guess we sort of are, but it's very calming and very, I don't know, it's a soothing, easy to live in house. I don't know if that's
I think
because of Mike, but.
Well, some of the things, I mean, the design and the woodwork and the kitchen, and you absolutely love the garage floor.
Oh, the garage floor, yeah. I love the garage. The garage is
I did an epoxy floor in the garage. For now, we're going to have to do it down south. But
yeah, our house really looks shabby now that we come up here and it's so nice, and then we go home, it's like, oh, God.
I know this is embarrassing, but in my life, I have never cleaned a garage floor. This one, you know, when your car comes in,
it begs to be clean.
It drops a little water with some dirt on it. You just clean it off. It's that shiny and that nice, but that's the garage. The wood floor in here, he did a great job. I mean, they did an excellent job on that.
Yeah, the wood floor is nice.
But just the attention to detail on the moldings, how all the crown molding fits. There's no gaps. There's nothing. Everything in the house flows from one area to the other, and it's a great house for entertaining.
We love our outdoor porch.
It's just been most of the summer out there. We put the fireplace outside, you'll see, and it's just a really nice place to live. And when people come over, everyone kind of gathers around the kitchen, and there's plenty of room. We've had as many as 50 people at a party here, and it's not that big a house, but it flowed really well, and it wasn't even crowded. Mike did a great job, not only from a design standpoint, the financial standpoint, the attention to detail. I think the one thing that we did that I would highly recommend for anybody looking to build a house who's going through a selection process for builders is simply to ask one question overall of the clients of the builder they're looking at. And that simply is, if they were to do it again, would they use the same builder? That was a key question that we honed in on, and one I think that we could say now that if we were ever to build again, we definitely use Mike again.